So one single activity of now what is the understanding of a global value chain? Converting of one single product into into a finished product, and in this particular consideration or combination, if the contributor are the different several member nations or the member countries, then this particular consideration or this particular activity is called as a global value chain. Global value chain can be simply understood as the sequence of all functional activities which is required in the process of value chain creation involving more than one country. So what are those functional activities? These functional activities are in terms of your functions of management, that is manufacturing, that is production, marketing, finance, operations, HR, relations, product development, market development, service development, R&D, and so on. So if all the functional activities have been conducted at several countries or different countries in more than one countries, then this particular consideration or understanding is called as a global value chain. So here an example is given for you in terms of the global value chain. Now, in this particular scenario, this particular slide explains or considers about the evaluation of global value chain from the era perspective. So, in 1977, the commodity chains was available, wherein the Hopkins and the Wallenstein from the year 1977 was a major contributor, and he has started with the consideration of global value chain as a certain perspective. The second scenario started from the year 1985, wherein it has completely changed the global industry or the international commodity perspectives market, wherein the Porter's value chain was into existence, and accordingly, the different perspectives, different levels of the Porter's value chain model was been provided with respect to the goods and services that a particular customer needs. That is either for the self-estimations, either for the personal needs, domestic needs, international needs, and so on. Then comes in the year 1994, the global commodity chain, wherein the commodity of one country was been shifted to another country, and it was started to exchange from the year 1994, which was been given by Gerefish in the year 1994. Again, in a scenario of the 2000 era, the global value chain was into existence, and how a particular commodity can be manufactured or processed, or the functional activities can be conducted between several nations or several countries. This concept was being materialized. In the year 2007, again, the global value chain network was started to develop, and COE and hence gave a certain consideration about 2007 era about developing a global value chain, which combined the analysis of trade and industrial organizations as a value-added chain. So in this way, the network started to grow and develop day by day as per the countries started to grow or expand their business activities. Now, what makes a global value chain different? So how a global value chain is different from a traditional value chain, and what is the various features? First thing, complexity of transactions, codifiability of transactions, and competency of supply. So complexity, that is, it involves several number of participants or several numbers of contributors. So a global chain or a value chain is having several different manufacturers, several different components, that is the manufacturer at one place, the supplier at one place, the distributor at one place, the raw material at one place, the marketing company at one place, the promotional and branding strategy at another place, and the customer at the end place. So in this way, complexity of transactions are made available, wherein the global value chain is thus forming the stronger governance and is required than simple priced based market. Codifiability of transactions, it requires various contributions of different perspectives, different functional objectives, different managerial competencies, and the competencies of different countries accordingly. So in this way, the transactions are also quite complicated, the transactions are also quite complex, and it creates a challenging perspective wherein the global value chain is a different perspective at a certain perspective. Competency of supplier, so at every point of time, the supplier of raw material, supplier of goods and services is quite different, and it creates a good competency, that is how a quality product can be reached to a customer, and it is beneficial for the customers at large. Now, why global value chain? Because 30% in the developed countries, the GDP contribution is from the value-added services is at the rate 18%. In order to increase your GDP, that is a gross domestic product, and the GNP, in order to provide the good quality of goods, products and services, in order to increase the standard of living of the people, you have to provide the quality products, and these particular quality products can be made available only when the contributor of all countries, all member nations, or all the societies and companies are into existence, and the product can be developed accordingly. It enhanced the productivity by creating the employment, income, and development opportunities by creating the various jobs also. So at every location, at every country, or at every international level, the jobs are being created, the resources are being shared, and accordingly, the global value chain benefits all the member nations. And it is always a long-term industrial upgrading. So sharing of technology, sharing of resources creates a certain perspective wherein you can contribute each and everything at every point of time. value created by global value chain. So here in this, an example of US iPod 4 is given for you, wherein the market price was in the year 2007, that is $299. So in this way, what happened? The product is, it has been transferred from one location to another location. Various contributors are there in this particular product, and accordingly, the global value chain is into existence. So here, whenever this particular iPod 4 was into existence, the different contributors for this particular manufacturing of this particular product are of certain major constitution. That is, you can see is 481 components have been required to just manufacture one iPod 4. So in this way, what are the various contributors for manufacturing? Here in this particular slide, you can see that is the video or multimedia processor chip is been manufactured by Broadcom, which is for $8. Controller chip by the Portal Player by $5. The unaccountable, that is iPod, came to $110. Final assembly was done in China at $4 per price. The hard drive was designed and developed by Toshiba at $73. Parts and labor was been contributed by $19 at Toshiba, and so on. So in this way, all the contributors came together and one iPod 4 was been developed. So here in this way, when all the value created by the global value chain came together, all the 481 components was assembled at a certain place, and assembling in China was undertaken, and ultimately the value of this particular product, that is Apple iPod 4, was valued at $160. That is 54% of the retail price. So now what is the value addition for Apple? The value addition for Apple is $80. So in this way, a particular product gets valued, it gets charged in the price of this particular product is been designed accordingly. So in this way, it was considered as a major contributor, as a major participant of the global value chain, wherein maximum number of 481 components has come together, and the product has been designed accordingly. So the global world that we live in is a trade between the intermediate products, which is the goods and services. Now here at this stage, you can see the global network trade contributors for this particular stage is at the rate of, in the year 1990 to 91, it was at the rate 0.98%, whereas in the year 2009, 2010, it was at the rate of 2.54, that is, sorry, 4.5%. So in this way, the contributor for the global value chain or the global trade network has increased in $1 trillion at a very faster rate. So around $4 trillion or $3 trillion was at a various highest contribution. Now, the various countries you can see at this stage are the countries of Australia, Austria, Czech Republic, Germany, Israel, and so on. So these countries contribute to around 67% of the total global value chain, and accordingly, it provides a forum in which governments can work together to share their experiences and seek solutions to the common problems. So all the member countries can come together, and accordingly, they can contribute for the creation of the growth and development of the qualitative and quantitative products at the larger scale. So the total value chain created by GVC, that is global value chain in terms of the rest of the world and the contributors of the countries, that is OECD, that is Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, is 67%, NIC is 8%, NIC at 3%, BRIC countries, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa at 14%, and rest of the world, that is the domestic market of the industrial nature, contributes at the 8%. Now, here in this particular slide, you can see the total global value chain that has been created by or the contribution as per the countries. So in this way, the major contributor that is other than OECD countries is 32%, and the contributors of OECD, that is USA 9%, Germany 9%, UK 4%, Japan 4%, Korea 5%, France 4%, BRIC countries 5%, LDC, that is least developed countries at the rate 8%, and the non-developed countries at 1% and 2% respectively. So in this way, you can see the contributors of the OECD and non-OECD countries. The world we live in, that is foreign value added content. So what is the contributor to the foreign value addition in respect of the OECD economies and non-OECD economies in the scenario of 1995 to 2009, that is 2010 era? So the drastic change in the year 15 years of duration, you can see the major contributor is in the terms of Luxembourg, that is the first range as you can see, and the different examples of the countries has been provided at these states. That is the Portugal, Estonia, Sweden, Denmark, Austria, Mexico, Canada, Chile, Japan, Norway, and so on. So in this way, different countries are the contributors and participants in the global value chain. Now, with respect to the foreign value addition, the various contributors, the major contribution you can see at this particular place is in terms of the Singapore is the ultimate major beneficiary at this stage, which is a part of the non-OECD economies. In terms of the share of services, that is value added services in terms of the total value of value added exports, you can see the various charts and diagrams in this scenario, wherein the contribution of the different countries, that is China, United States, Germany, Korea, UK, India, Brazil, South Africa, uh, Chinese Tirrenia, Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, all the countries have been provided at this stage. So in this way, the various contributors are there, and now the consideration of a perspective of forward linkage and a backward linkage. Forward linkage, the country provides inputs into exports to the other countries. So if at any point of time you can found, if you can see that if a particular country is providing a certain input to the export perspective, then that particular thing or scenario is called as a forward linkage. And if at a particular situation, if the country imports the intermediate products to be used in the exports, then if anything is been it is been imported by a certain country in order to boost their exports, then this particular scenario is called as a backward linkage. So in this way, we have to take into consideration about the proper coordination, control, and the global assembly perspective line, wherein the proper product, every product is being provided in a proper time duration, and accordingly, the manufacturing and coordination activities is being conducted. Especially, the global value chain focuses on the designing, marketing, and retailing perspective, wherein the proper qualitative and quantitative product is being provided to the customers, and the pitfalls of the global chain in this particular situation you can go on. Now, the types of governance in the value chain you can see at this particular stage, it is with respect to the how a particular product is being transferred from one location to the location and what are the various contributors. So the contributors in the terms of market, in terms of the modulars, in terms of the relational model, in terms of the captive model, and in terms of the hierarchy model. So your frequency, that is degree of explicit coordination, and the power asymmetry can be either high or low, and it either changes from the end user to the customer or the material. So in this way, the various global value chain difference or they differs from one person to another person, and the contributors keeps on changing. So here with respect to the market, modular, relational, captive, and hierarchy, we can see the complexity changes from high to low in accordance in order of the requirement. Now the contributor of the OECD policy domains for the global value chain with respect to the trade policy, investment policy, development policy, competitive policy, and the risk management is been explained at this particular stage, wherein the various trade barriers, we have to consider all or the consideration of all the trade barriers, the burdens of the tariff and non-tariff concern, the generation of investment incentives, the home and the host country, that is the domestic prices, international prices, the prices of the goods and services in the local market and international market, the policies of the government of respective monetary policy, fiscal policy, economic policy, foreign trade policy, national policy, and international competitive market. Everything has to be taken into consideration. And lastly, the risk management, that is with respect to the greater independence and the risk associated with the products, imports and exports, everything is taken into consideration, and accordingly, the global value chain can be conducted or identified effectively. In this way, we come with the end of today's lecture. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining and understanding the concept of global value chain. Thank you.